FM 94, The Dark, and yes, Halfway Jam is just around the corner. And one of the bands that's going to be rocking the stage on Friday night is Seether. And on the phone right now, I'm talking with the bassist of Seether, that being Dale Stewart. And Dale, first of all, thanks so much for joining me. And what are your memories, I guess, of rocking up here in Minnesota? Because I know you guys have been in Minnesota a few times.
We have, yeah. I don't know. I think we've always, enjoyed playing up there. Good shows. I always, you know, notice how nice the people are up there. And I notice their accents. They have funny accents. But yeah, I always notice how hospitable people are, how cool they are, and they really love the rock music up there. So providing it's not winter, it's certainly a great place to play.
Let's talk about Seether. Now, what are some of the projects Seether has going on right now? Of course, obviously, you guys are coming off some albums recently. What's kind of in the works for Seether here for 2016, maybe even going into 2017?
Yeah, it was actually after the last tour that ended sort of late last year. We've been taking some time off and just sort of regrouping. But yeah, we'll be in studio in the next couple of months doing a new album, and we're looking to release that album early in the new year, and then doing the whole crazy touring cycle thing again. So yeah, that's the goal: to release an album and lots more touring and shows.
Let's catch the fans up to speed here a little bit about the band Seether and maybe some background. For me, first time talking with anybody from the band Seether, so I'm kind of curious. Really, how did you guys all come about and start this band?
It was a long time ago in a land far, far away. It was in South Africa, actually, at the end of 1999, and yeah, Sean and I through um, we met through mutual friends. I was in a band at the time. He was in a band. Um, yeah, and as it happened, my band fell apart. He had some people quit. I was the only bass player that he knew. He gave me a call one day and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I pulled in for like a band practice, um, and that was it. Yeah, and that's kind of where it all began. And um, from there, just started doing demos and recording, and eventually got a deal in South Africa and started touring there, and then ended up getting a deal in the States, in New York City, and moved out here to the States and started recording and playing here. And that was 2002 when we moved to the States, so we've been based here ever since. And yeah, and just been working and touring like mad, and just doing our thing. So it's been a crazy ride, but a good one.
You mentioned obviously you started back in 1999 and eventually came over in 2002 here to the States. How were you received, I guess, at first? I talked to a lot of up and coming bands here on the airwaves, and it's been tough, for these bands today to make it into the industry. Back then, what was it like for you guys, and how were you received?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think at any point in history, it's tough to to make it, unless you have one song that blows up huge, and all of a sudden you in tour buses playing arenas, but that's rare that happens. So from most bands, 99% of bands, there's a lot of touring, a lot of paying your dues, going from the van to the RV, and then going from the RV to the old 1974 Eagle bus, and then going to the nice, late model Prevost, and then the second bus. You work your way up for most bands. But I think when we first came over, I feel like we were received really well. But when no one knows about you, it's tough. And that's why you have to play and you have to tour and you have to get your name out there.
Right.
People might argue that these days it's a lot easier with social media to get your name out there, but I feel like also these days you're awash in a sea of bands, signed bands, unsigned alike, getting their stuff out there. So even though it's easier to reach people, I feel like people are sometimes harder to reach just because there's so much coming at them. So it's a weird, double-edged sword, and we've got to see it through our career, watch it change completely. So it's been interesting. But yeah, I think it remains the same today as it was, back late '90s, 2000s. Just do your work, play shows. I feel like the best way to make a fan is to put on a good performance, and then if they leave with a good impression of the band, maybe next time they'll come back and they'll bring a couple of friends. Hey, you got to see these guys, and so on and so forth. And that's certainly what we've done in our careers is tour and tour and tour, and play for people, and hopefully build the fan base that way.
And that kind of leads into my next question, Dale. We're talking with Dale from Seether. They're going to be at Halfway Jam coming up here on Friday night, rocking the main stage late in the night, so it should be a lot of fun for that. But it kind of leads to my next question, talking about you growing up kind of with the band back in that 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. What is and now I can call you a veteran rocker because you've been around for a while, and I like to ask this question to veteran rockers. What do you see today as the status of rock and kind of where it is going? I guess what do you feel how rock is today?
I feel it's in a bit of a confused place. I don't know, and again, as someone who's older, I almost feel like my parents sometimes. Like, there'll be a new band, and I'm like, what's this rubbish these kids are listening to? But yeah, it's weird. It's I don't know if it has a definite identity anymore, like it did, when we were growing up. I feel like the lines are so blurred between, rock music, pop music, even country music. It's the lines are very blurred these days. When I was a kid in high school, music was almost one of the most important things. It's what defined you, and you'd have your little groups that you'd hang out with. Like, the metalheads would mix with, like, the ravers, and the pop kids, wouldn't mix with, like, the I don't know, whoever. So there was these little cliques that you had, and music was the basis of it. But I feel like it's not so much anymore, which is maybe a good thing. But yeah, I mean, it's a strange time. I mean, nobody knows how to deal with it, and nobody knows where it's going. So it's just like hang on for the ride and kind of see where it ends up.
The one thing about you guys, you've been around and together for the most part, you and Sean, and of course, and you've had some band members that have come and gone. But for you two, you guys have kind of stuck it through thick and thin. And, it's pretty rare nowadays that a band seems to stick around as long as maybe back in the 70s and the 80s, those bands stuck together. What do you think the reason for your success has been for sticking around so long and staying current with today's listeners in music?
Yeah, I think we love music. I think that's the sort of cornerstone. I mean, we're also like family. We've been together so long and been through so much together that, the bonds you develop are so powerful and strong. But underscoring that is just the love of music and the love of getting up on stage and playing, and the love of making music with your brothers. It's a really cool thing, and I can imagine doing anything else. And I'm sure I speak for the rest of the guys when I say that. But yeah, I think certain people are maybe cut out to do this, and other people not so much. I know a lot of people that have been on the road and been completely miserable, and it's not all this romanticized, Hollywood, idea that people might have of what it's like to do this. It's not all, limousines and, mad groupies and drugs and crazy parties, jump off the roof of the hotel room into the pool kind of thing. A lot of it's kind of mundane and hard, and it's, it's difficult and uncomfortable being, away from home so much and living out of a suitcase. And, so a lot of it isn't as glamorous. And I think that eats a lot of people up. And I feel like the emotional, the personal part, missing loved ones, family, missing children, that really eats people up, and people get miserable and depressed, and they want to go home. So it certainly takes a certain type of person to be able to stick this out, certainly for as long as we have, and longer, I'd say, and still be motivated to do it, and be creative, come up with new music, and keep touring, and playing the music you like.
And obviously, in today's world of music, you have to get out in front of people. Maybe back in the day, you could get a record on radio, and that could kind of propel you through. But today, now, you almost have to be in front of the people to show your product. What do you, I guess, say about today's touring compared to what it was back maybe 15 years ago?
Honestly, for us as a band, I don't think much has changed. I feel like, if anything, we've eased up slightly, not much, but we have eased up slightly on the touring, and that's just for a longevity standpoint. Back when we first came to the States and we started touring hard, we had some stints where we do 12, 13, 14 shows in a row, without a day off. They're playing an hour and a half every night, sweaty hot clubs, and that really takes a toll on your body and your mind and everything. It's kind of a hard thing to do. So now we try to do 2 shows and a day off, maybe 3 and a day off, but hopefully not more than that. And I think that's something that is important, especially once you're mid to late 30s. It's like, oh, wow, okay, I'm not 22 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Things hurt a little more now, so let's do those 2 shows and have a little time to recover. And I mean, I think doing it that way, you can tour, you can do a year straight touring, or a year and a half touring. Whereas if you try and go too hard and burn that candle at both ends, within 6 months you'll be fried and just ready to just pack it all in and come home.
Right.
I think there's a lot of value in touring smart than touring hard, and that's something we haven't always done, and that's something that has almost imploded the band, many years ago. But I think we learned from it, and learned that it's a marathon and not a sprint to the finish. So
Right.
I think if anything, we try to tour a little bit smarter than harder.
Awesome. Well, I know our time is cut short here, Dale, but I just want to say thanks so much for joining me. I've seen you guys in concert a bunch of times, and I know the fans are going to be excited to see you coming up on Friday. Final things that you want to say to the fans of Minnesota before they come out and see you on Friday?
Yeah, I guess just, thanks for the ongoing support. And it's been a while since we've been up there, so looking forward to seeing the fans. I'm sure there'll be, always a couple of familiar faces. So looking forward to seeing the guys and making some noise and having a good time.
Once again, that is Dale from the band Seether. Thanks so much, Dale.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
And don't forget, Seether will be rocking the main stage at Halfway Jam coming up Friday, as they'll be out there at 11 o'clock. Make sure you get on out there.